Hello, everyone. This is episode number 145 of At Odds with the Unbreakable Spirit
and the executioner, Daniel Travis.
I'm Matthew Smith, aka the Unbreakable Spirit. You're probably expecting a wrestling episode this week. Well, you're wrong. Full
Wrong.
disclosure, we've been doing the past 3 episodes in one recording session, so we don't know the results of
They don't need to
SummerSlam
know
yet.
this. Yeah.
I just want to be honest. So instead, we are going to do a pop culture episode, and it is how he and I would tag team a DC cinematic universe.
Live action, to be precise.
And what we're gonna do is we're gonna describe each movie alternating one older one, then older one, then older one again. Okay, so let's start. We're gonna probably do like the 3 full chapters we did.
Yeah.
Okay, starting with chapter 1, which I titled Origins. It's simple. The
If you don't know
origins
what
of the
that
characters and their sidekicks.
Yes.
The first movie on our slate is Superman the Last Son of Krypton. And the villain would be General Zod. Except this time, Superman would not
How
break
would this
his neck.
movie what would this movie be like, would you say?
It would be Superman moving to Metropolis and adjusting and like we'd probably have some scenes in Smallville of him adjusting to his powers. I'm not saying we just rip off Man of Steel. I'm not saying that, first off.
Yeah.
But it's just a Superman origin. He meets Lois, he meets Jimmy, he starts protecting Metropolis, eventually Zod invades, and we have a post-credit scene of a Kryptonian escape pod crash landing in Kansas somewhere.
Yeah. And a side character, just so who would make constant he'd make like maybe one or a couple scenes, would be Lex Luthor.
Who was the character you said?
Lex Luthor.
Okay,
He would make
yeah.
he would make an appearance or two.
Alright, Daniel, how would you tell us
Moving him.
that? Yeah, why don't you tell us movie 2?
Movie 2. And it's not something like that's been done to death, because full disclosure, this is a news story that hasn't really been touched. Let me just paint you a picture to describe our Gotham. Think of all like a Matt Reeves, Tim Burton, Gotham, Matt Reeves Gotham verse, or like Arkham verse, a really dark and gritty city. Full disclosure, the Batman will
I'd
be
honestly
played
be
by
okay with the
Jason
Matt
Ackles,
Reeves Burton
because
Gotham thingy.
it's the first actor I could think. What?
Yeah. Did you say the title of the movie?
No, the movie would be called Batman Shadow of Gotham. And it would be a Batman that had just debuted, Batman would have been a thing for would have just started out, and shortly after Batman made his debut, there would have been a group, there would have been a bunch. It's called Shadow of Gotham, which the villain would be the Court of Owls. And what it would be is that there would be a bunch of high politicians or random city officials or random high-ranking people in Gotham being randomly murdered, and the GCPD at first wouldn't, they wouldn't know if they could, if it's this new Batman, and Batman on his own with just him and Alfred would have to figure out, okay, what is really going on, who is responsible for this, and Batman would have to try to figure out the story of the plot. But to be honest, we wouldn't even reveal who the villain was. Like, yeah, sure, you would see you might see the Talon, but
I
you
just
might
want to apologize for the audio distortion on his end.
yeah, you would see you might see the Talon, but that's really about it. It would just you wouldn't really get an idea of who's behind this. There'd be a bunch of murders, and the villain wouldn't even reveal himself.
Yeah, yeah. The big thing for this movie for us is the murders would not be solved. You would
Yeah.
never Batman would never figure out who is killing these people.
All right. What's the next movie?
All right, so our third movie to round out the big three, Wonder Woman, Champion of Themyscira. The villain would be Cheetah, and it'd be probably, and I hate to say this, more along the lines of Wonder Woman 1984 than the original Wonder Woman movie.
I was gonna say I was gonna go more of I was gonna say it'd be more I was gonna borrow from honestly more of Wonder Woman Bloodline, the animated movie. The look of that cheetah, to be precise.
Yeah, but what I was saying is in terms of villains and story for the movie.
Yeah. Well, all right, you tell me what's the plot.
The plot is, admittedly, since it's an origin, we're doing a lot the uh, from the Wonder Woman movie starring Gal Gadot, and she'd probably still be our Wonder Woman if we're being honest.
Yeah.
And it's about her adapting to the new world and maybe or maybe not uh, fighting a cursed Amazon or something. Isn't that what Cheetah is in the comics?
No, Doc. Nope. Human.
Human? Okay. But yeah, she fights Cheetah, who's trying to get a cure for her curse or something.
Yeah.
And this brings us to our first team up in this universe. Do you want to
And I
explain it
also
or
will,
should I?
and I also want to say real quick, Lover will be Steve Trevor, and just to describe Diana's character is, she's a very nice, all about bringing hope, but in a split second, she turns into a badass.
In a split second, she will kill you.
Yeah. Now for the third movie, we try to figure, shit, who's a dangerous enough threat that could get three of the biggest heroes to come together. And the villain we chose is the immortal. Yes, in our universe, he is immortal. Not you can't kill him at three separate points in the timeline. Like, this motherfucker cannot die. Would be the
Oh,
one and
okay, so
only.
you're talking about movie for the Trinity because you were breaking up for a long time, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vandal Savage,
The
and it'd be basically Vandal Savage would have some sort of massive plan, and it would force those Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman to come together, and they are forced to trust each other to battle Vandal Savage.
yeah. Anyways, that was the Trinity that we just covered. We are on to movie number 5, Superman 2 Legacy of Krypton. This would not only be a Superman movie, but it would introduce Supergirl, and the villain would be Lex Luthor, because why not?
And also, and I'm gonna be 100% honest with you folks, um, don't think like a Jesse Eisenberg sort of Lex Luthor. Think like more like a John Cryer, or like what his portrayal was on Titans, or like Michael Cussler from Superman and Lois. Think like that sort of Lex.
Yeah, not a guy that thought he was playing the Riddler.
Yeah, like an actual stoic
And the
sort of
plot
like.
of this would not only be Superman protecting the city and his identity, but also trying to protect his teenage or young adult cousin from destroying the city.
Yeah, and Lex
And
Luthor would
also
of
teaching
course.
her how to adapt to life on Earth.
And also, Lex Luthor would have a really complicated plot because you can't really have Lex
Lex
Luthor in our.
Luthor.
Yeah, and you can't really have him be a complicated plot.
Yeah, which brings us to movie 6,
What's the name of this one? The Long
Batman
Halloween.
2 The Long Halloween.
Yeah, this one is, yeah. What you just said, it is the Long Halloween. It is, it'd be, full disclosure, this shit would be 100% rated R.
Yeah,
And it would,
rated
and
R
it
for
would,
sure. Probably Matt Reeves directed, since he took a lot of inspiration from The Long Halloween for the Batman movie that came out a couple years ago.
yeah, I would have it be like another. It would just like, Batman.
Rated
Like,
R for sure.
yeah, but okay, yeah. Full disclosure, by the way, and in those past couple months since before, like, in the gap between, Batman would have had an introduction with a bunch of other villains.
Yeah,
So in this movie, it'd be a Batman in his second year, and there'd be a murder called, it'd be the Long Halloween, where Batman would be trying to figure out these murders, and you would have like Batman very much like, like, Batman would be a lot more aggressive. He would be a lot more, you know, he would have, he would, by the way, but at this point, just so people know, he would have the Bruce Wayne and Batman identity figured out.
yeah. And I'm just gonna say, for those of you who have read the Long Halloween comic, you pretty much know the plot of the movie.
Or the animated movie.
Or if you watch the animated movie.
Yeah, but,
Yeah, the villain would be the Holiday Killer.
yeah, I just said that.
Sorry,
Yeah,
for didn't hear it apparently.
yeah. The villain would be the Holiday Killer. It'd be a lot more of a detective story. There'd be murders, there'd be mystery. And also, um, to end the movie off, you would have an after credit scene. Reveal, the audience would, like, the audience wouldn't know who it was either. Full disclosure, throughout the entire flick. But there'd be an after credit scene revealing one of the killers to be Gilded Dead.
Yeah, like I said, if you've read the comic or watched the animated movie, you pretty much know the answer to the mystery.
Yeah, but
Anyways,
but even if you did it, we would still make it hard.
Wonder Woman 2 would be called, well, it'd be Wonder Woman 2 Bloodlines. And the movie's villain would be Veronica Cale.
In case you don't know who that is, that is Wonder Woman's
Think
Lex.
think if Lex Luthor was a Wonder Woman villain.
Yeah. What would you do for the plot of this movie?
I would do someone is trying to attack the Amazons, that being Veronica, and Wonder Woman has to try to protect her home and her family. Steve Trevor
Okay.
is also helping for some reason.
All right. Number,
Do you want to do number 8?
what's number 8?
Superman 3, Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah, Superman 3, Man of Tomorrow would be Brainiac. Yeah, we bring him into our live action universe, and his whole thing would, like, Brainiac would be a, he'd be trying to like to conquer or just shrink Metropolis and try to, or contact Superman and try to, get the city together and, study, Superman's effects, the effects that the sun have, and it would actually kind of make Clark try to figure out, hey, what the fuck is going on? And he, might, like Superman, maybe Kara would get involved in this shit. Maybe, he'd have to get some backup from other people, but
Yeah,
eventually Brainiac would be defeated somehow.
yeah. Anyways, the 8th movie, oh, sorry, ninth movie out of our 10 for chapter 1 is Batman 3, Dark Victory. The villains would be Sophia Falcone and Tony Zuko. And full disclosure, I have not read this comic, but
The
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 most
plot. The
what?
sorry, but the plot is basically, so there's this serial killer, who's called, who's been playing a game of hangman and murdering a bunch of people. So you have to get another murder mystery movie, and this movie also introduces Robin.
Yeah, because one of the chapters in Dark Victory is the origin of Richard Grayson.
Yeah, this
And
movie would
then
probably.
we could still have the hangman thing going on during that time. So Bruce is not only having to balance his identity as Bruce Wayne and Batman, while also trying to hide that from Dick Grayson and also make sure he is there to be a father figure to Dick.
And then at some point, Dick Grayson would find out.
Yeah, probably in a post-credit scene if we're being honest.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
Uh, but full disclosure, Robinson would look something like from Titans. Just so
yeah,
people have an
except
idea.
maybe a little more
Lighthearted.
vibrant.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. And do you want to do the final movie?
Final movie. What's the name of this one? I forget.
Wonder Woman 3, War of the Gods.
Right, Wonder Woman 3, War of the Gods. By the way, full disclosure, by this point, Wonder Woman would have already gotten, or in between movies, would have gotten her sidekick.
Wonder Girl, Donna Troy.
Yes. But this one would be, there'd be a war going on, and Diana, with the help of like Steve Trevor, uh, would try to go on and figure out, hey, what's going on, and then at some point in the movie, not like very late, but like at some point, maybe early in the movie, it's revealed to be Ares, the god of war, because he's all about war and destruction and all that and shit.
As if
And
that
there would
wasn't
be,
obvious by the title. And
yeah,
full disclosure, I came up with the title, but I knew that going into it that I wanted Ares to be the villain for that movie.
yeah. Okay, anyway, but I would have a lot of violent fight scenes between Wonder Woman and Ares, and Ares, would either, retreat or be defeated because Ares always returns.
All right, and that would be the end of chapter 1 for our DCU. Now that we have the foundation, we move on to chapter 2, Unite. And this
Would you
chapter will build up to the formation of the Justice League.
would you like to say to everyone who the founding members are
Yes, the
of the
founding
Justice?
members of our Justice League are obviously Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman for the
Those,
first three. Like you can't have a Justice League without them.
yeah,
Then we have Aquaman, Green Lantern, more specifically Hal Jordan,
yeah,
The Flash, Barry Allen, and the Martian Manhunter.
yes,
Since you did the last movie, I'll start off with this one. The first one is called Aquaman, King of Atlantis. And the villain would be Black Manta. It'd pretty much be about Aquaman accepting his Atlantean heritage and his right on the throne.
and also in this movie, you like maybe Black Manta's already a thing, or by the time this movie starts, and Manta has this sort of like I don't know, maybe Manta already hates Aquaman, or this could be like Manta's origin movie, and Manta like finds something and like really like I don't know tries to ruin his life immediately. Like he doesn't
Yeah,
waste a second. Like, oh, you think, oh yeah, Manta's not that big of a thriller. Yeah, look up the shit he did to Aquaman's son.
yeah, he tried to murder a baby in Aquaman the Lost Kingdom.
But in the comics he actually did.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So Aquaman would just be, like you said, be trying to figure out would be trying to figure out who he is, and he would also, it would start the rivalry between those two.
yeah.
All right, what's that? All right,
The next movie is The Flash Speed Force.
yeah. It'd be Barry Allen, learning about his powers, trying to figure out who he is as a hero, and at some point, the villain, probably early in the movie, would be revealed to be Thawne, and Thawne would just try to make Barry's life a living hell.
Yeah.
There'd be a lot
The
of
next movie on the list,
yeah,
if you're done talking about The Flash,
yeah, I am.
the next movie on the list is Green Lantern First Flight, and the villains would be the Red Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
The reason we chose them and not the yellow is Sinestro's not a bad guy yet.
Oh, but Sinestro would. This would kind of be the This would kind of be the what's the word I'm looking for? The thing that broke the
Origin
camel's
of
back.
the Sinestro Corps.
Yeah. This would 100 because so now like all right. Um, how do you picture this movie?
I picture this as war veteran turned test pilot Hal Jordan, and basically his origin.
Yeah.
Along the
Yeah.
way, and obviously, like, Carol is the love interest, but
Yeah.
a bunch of flying aliens dressed in red battle armor, pretty much,
Mm.
come to Earth, and Hal has to learn how to control his new powers of will and gain the trust of people like Kilowog and help
And
him
Sinestro.
save the world from an alien death.
Well, see, yeah. To add on to that, it also, Sinestro would kind of be the thing, would be a lantern, and you would also learn, the reason. I don't know, maybe there could be some murders, because like Sinestro, you also find out, the reason on why Sinestro, on why you'd find out, like this would be the thing that leads Sinestro to leave, and you would also find out Atrocitus' reason for hating the Guardians.
Yeah, and I will say that Sinestro probably in the movie will be pleading with the Guardians to use the power of fear to stop the power of rage. And they're like, no, and maybe that's why he leaves or something.
Because he finds that, I think in the comics, he just finds them, weak and pathetic.
Yeah.
Alright, what's next?
The next movie is the only Martian Manhunter movie, Martian Manhunter, The Last Green Son of Mars.
Yeah, and the main villain is his brother Manafak, who betrayed his lantern cord for like the Marsh. I think like the White Martian did something and hates his guts.
Yep.
That's it. And
Yeah.
also it'd be an origin movie for him on how he ended up on
Yeah.
Earth and all that stuff. What's next?
The the fifth movie on our list is Aquaman 2, King of the Seas, and the villain, Ocean Master.
What do you see
Because
the plot?
why wouldn't Orm hate his half brother?
What do you see? Orm's. What's the plot of this one?
This one is more about like uniting the kingdoms under one ruler, and Orm wants that to be him, but Aquaman's like, nah, I'm the king, and you will never claim my throne, brother.
Yeah, I see Aquaman like like Jason Momoa, very silly, but at the same time, he's a good, serious ruler for the king,
Yeah,
not just a total goofball.
yep.
What's
Ready to move
next?
on to the next movie?
Yep.
The next movie on our list is The Flash 2, The Flash of Two Worlds.
We should basically introduce Jay Garrick, uh, and the
And the
villains.
multiverse in general, when you think about it.
Yeah, whatever Earth Jay Garrick is from, and
Two.
the main villain would be Reverse Flash returning again, teaming up
And
with the
the
rival.
rival, who is Jay Garrick's Reverse Flash. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah,
Anyways, it would obviously be a multiverse movie, which fun. And it would allow us to see what other universes we could potentially explore in later chapters.
yeah. What's next?
The next match is
Me.
movie. I don't know why I said match. We just did two wrestling episodes.
Yeah.
My
Okay.
mind is still on wrestling.
Okay.
The
Anyway.
second God, the seventh movie, Green Lantern, Beware My Power. And this is where the Sinestro Corps would be the main villain.
Yeah. It basically be Sinestro core. It basically be Sinestro forming his core and trying to take down the Guardians,
Yeah,
and also establish himself as a crime lord.
yep,
That's it.
yeah. Alright, ready for movie number 8?
Yep.
I'm excited to talk about this one because we loved the concept last night. Aquaman 3, The Wrath of Poseidon.
I Can I talk about this one?
Yeah,
Okay, so what it would be is there would be a bunch of attacks all over throughout all the kingdoms of Atlantis, Atlantis would get heavily attacked. They would be this mysterious attacker. Every kingdom would report, hey, we've gotten attacked by we think it's Poseidon. Then Arthur would have to go investigate this. He would have to call, I'm going to say, he'd have to call Diana or something, be like, hey, I need help. Why? Because, someone I think is Poseidon, but I really have no idea is Poseidon or not, is attacking all the kingdoms and, he's creating problems even for the surface world. So, eventually, uh, like halfway through this movie, it's revealed to be Alan, the original king of Atlantis, who came back from the dead because he was like, hey, motherfuckers, this is my throne. This is my kingdom.
So
And he
get to
tries,
step in. So get to step in, Landuella.
yeah. So, he tries to, destroy Atlantis and try to take all of the kingdoms and tries to rule. But Aquaman, you have a lot. Like, once it's revealed, you have a lot of brutal fights,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
all, and also, by the way, also, Aqualad would be a thing. So you'd have him be a thing,
Yeah,
and
don't worry. We have plans for the sidekicks later.
but you would have a lot of fighting. Wonder Woman would be involved. This shit would just be full of action and craziness, and
Yeah,
but with the help of like Diana, because because Diana would be involved because we think it's we think it's Poseidon, but eventually he would be I don't know, decapitated or something, but the post credit scene would have him like his head coming back into his body because he will return.
yeah.
And
Movie
by the
number
way,
nine,
that's a real villain, by the way.
yeah, movie number 9, the last movie before the end of this chapter, or the penultimate movie, Green Lantern Manhunt. The movie's villain would be the Manhunters. And essentially, what I'm thinking for this is sort of like the Manhunters are hunting
Pissed
down the
off
Green Lantern Corps.
because they're pissed off that they got replaced.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one thing we didn't mention earlier is at the end of at least one of each of these movies, one of the big three comes to the main character of the movie and is like, hey, we think something's coming. We need your help.
And also, they would help them with whatever their plot is.
Yeah, like we said, Wonder Woman is a character in Aquaman 3,
Yeah.
which
What's
leads us into movie number 10. The blow off of this chapter, Justice League Invasion.
spoiler alert? The villain's dark side.
Because why wouldn't it be Darkseid?
Yeah. Basically, there'd be
And
like a bunch of what? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you've seen Justice League War, pretty much that.
Except,
Or Zack Snyder's Justice League minus the decapitation.
well, I was gonna say if you've seen Justice League War, the only difference is Shazam wouldn't be a founder.
Yeah, Shazam is not a founder in our house.
No, but you'd have Steppenwolf. There'd be a bunch of kidnappings. Eventually, Darkseid would make his day. Like you would have like each member, come together. The Justice League would slowly come together. Then they meet out. You'd have a one location each hero. would make their own badass entrance,
Yeah.
and then they all be there, and then Dark, like I don't know, maybe they fought Steppenwolf and Steppenwolf retreated. Um, they came together to fight Steppenwolf, but then for the remainder of the movie, it'd just be them whooping Darkseid, in an epic battle with Darkseid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, I
Go
forgot to
ahead.
mention that. But in one of the I forgot to mention this, but when Clark found out that Bruce Wayne was Batman, Bruce got so petty that you know what he does.
Yeah. If you've seen that Panda Red TikTok, you know what we're talking about.
Basically, he takes Lois out on a date, and he also buys his apartment and buys the Daily Planet.
And buys his parents' farm.
Yeah, that too.
Like, Batman's so petty, bro.
But yeah, in the
Anyways,
end, well,
yeah.
after they defeat Darkseid, the Justice League would be on the stage. They'd all be talking to each other, be like, "Hey, I don't know if we should form some sort of team," but eventually they all come to realize that we should. The president asks, "Oh crap! I forgot to ask. Do you guys have a name?" And someone says, "We do." You do? Yeah. Call us the Justice League.
Yeah, because we're not including that panel from the finale of the Justice League War arc in the New 52, where it was Barry Allen who came up with the Super 7.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
That closes out chapter 2, and chapter 3 is called Expand.
Yeah.
And it's about introducing new characters, expanding the universe, and introducing characters that will foreshadow later movies.
All right, go.
We have 7 movies for this chapter, and the first one, Shazam, Black Adam's the villain.
Yeah. It'd be kind of like Shazam 1, except with Black Adam as the villain.
Yeah,
Number 2,
Green Arrow and Black Canary, the brave and the bold.
which would be maybe Green Arrow would be like, maybe he'd be like a mix of like the Arrowverse and the comic books. I'm not really sure.
I'm leaning more towards comic booky.
Yeah, but Merlin would be the villain. That's it.
Yeah, we don't know if it's Tommy or Malcolm, and Roy Harper would be in this movie too.
Well, no, it's Merlin.
I said Roy Harper would be in the movie. I didn't say he was the villain.
Oh, right, yeah. And Merlin, alright, what's next?
Movie number 3 is the Doom Patrol, and their villains would be the Brotherhood of Evil.
Yeah, it basically
Trust me,
is sort
there's
of.
a point to this.
Yeah. The next movie would be a Teen Titans movie. It'd basically be them forming and they'd be dealing with Trigon.
Yeah. The next movie after that, the 5th movie of this, is Teen Titans 2, The Lazarus Contract. And
Which
Deathstroke would be the villain.
which by the way, like, just to add some background to this, the Teen Titans would have had a bit of history, in between movies dealing with Slade. Just so this makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Number 3,
The 6th movie would be Teen Titans 3, Tamaranian War.
basically, you want to explain this one? Here, I'll let you explain this one.
Yeah, the villain would be Blackfire, and it's basically, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's her trying to kill Starfire so she can claim the throne of Tamaran.
There'd be lots of destruction in this shit. The Teen Titans would have a major, would be helping out, trying to stop Blackfire. To
Yeah,
be
and
honest,
there would be a post-credit scene with a young girl with the powers of Telekinesis heading to
Earthbending.
Titan's Tower.
Yeah. And the last movie's Judas Contract.
Yeah, the last movie, Teen Titans number 4, The Judas Contract. The villains would be Hive and Deathstroke. I forgot to list Terra as a villain.
Yeah, so basically, just so people know, because my full disclosure, my phone is literally, it's not going, my phone's literally about to die. Like, it's at like 14% for real.
So
But
I guess we're gonna have to talk once it wakes up.
anyway,
But if you know the comic, you know the movie, we're probably not gonna have Tara be romantically interested
well,
in Slade,
hang on.
just
Here's what I'm
for
thinking.
obvious reasons.
The, yeah, the plot would basically start off, the Teen Titans in a battle with his son Grant. Grant would die, like within the, it'd be like, we would jump into a immediate battle. There'd be an epic battle. Grant would die. Deathstroke would show up, would blame the Titans. Deathstroke would basically shout, "Our deal's off. Cue Dick. Cue Robin. Our deal's off." Dick would basically reveal it. Dick would probably go to retirement somewhere. So would Wally, and then, you know, and then, before that, Tara would join, then Tara would join, but Deathstroke would just be kind of using her to get information, figure out the
Yeah.
times and all that
And
shit,
there might be a time skip like a few years later or something. So
or
Tara
like,
has time to get the team's trust, you know?
or or it might be like, or that could have happened like in between movies,
Yeah, it could.
Yeah, and then Tara betrays the team, and then he would turn her over to Hive, and then Brother Blood would try to gain their powers. Dick would become Nightwing. The Teen Titans would fight, and Tara would try to kill Deathstroke, and Deathstroke would, spoiler alert, somehow survive this shit, and Tara
Yeah.
dies. That's it.
And that would end chapter 3, which is the only one we actually have, the last one we actually have movies for.
Yeah. So thank you,
We are
Roller.
probably going to return to this once we have ideas. We just told you about 27 movies we would do for a DC universe.
Roll it.
Think about that, people. Our brains are fried about this. So, after we
Yeah.
recharge for a bit, we'll return to this topic.
Roll it.
And we'll see you next week, where hopefully we actually have the results of SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Deuces.